Welcome on inside Voice of the Nation Fast Break. My name is Dave Brickley alongside Jason Riley. Laker fans were chanting, "We want Mike, we want Mike," and they got Mike D'Antoni. Good for Laker
right,
fans,
that's
huh?
exactly. That's not what I heard on my telecast, but
What did you
maybe.
hear? You heard something different?
I heard a guy named what's his name? He's he played for the Knicks in the '70s.
I don't know.
Good player. Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
Phil Jackson.
So he's won 11 championships as a coach.
Yeah, he's had a little bit of success, and for some reason, the Lakers didn't wait to even respond. They didn't even wait to hear from Phil.
There's so many things going on with this story, and there's so many rumors and speculation. A lot of people saying that Phil wanted a high salary, which is understandable.
Right.
He wanted, travel restrictions. He wanted part of ownership. Then you talked to someone, or Kurt Rambis came out today and said that's all BS. Phil didn't ask for any of that. All he said was, we'll talk Monday, and I'll let you know what's up. And then Sunday, or early Monday morning, 1 a.m. Pacific, the news breaks that Mike D'Antoni's been hired for a 3-year, $12 million deal.
Here's what I know, and this is what I've observed about Jim Buss in his short time as general manager.
You're back.
Is Jim Buss, when Lamar Odom got all upset and he decided he wanted out, 24 hours later, Jim Buss sends Lamar packing to Dallas in a salary dump deal. Now, at the time, we look at Lamar now and we're like, well, Lamar, he's not what he used to be. But at that time, that was a big deal because Lamar Odom was a big key to that championship team in L.A.
I agree.
So he does that. So then he follows it up, and we're 5 games into the season here with Mike Brown. What's he do? He shocks everyone and fires Mike Brown 5 games into the season.
The problem I have with that argument is you're acting like Jim Buss is calling all the shots. I don't know how involved Jerry Buss is. I have to imagine that he calls the final shots in these big decisions. Mitch Kupchak's also involved as well. Didn't Jim Buss, if you're going to blame Jim Buss for all this stuff.
I'm not blaming him for everything.
Didn't he bring Dwight Howard to L.A.?
Bynum
is on the bench right now until January or February
no
with this
surprise.
awkward fro.
No surprise.
With the knee injury. So I give him credit for that. If you want to clown him for that, give him credit for that.
I'm not blaming Jim Buss for all of this.
But then you look at the track record, right? You got Brian Shaw. That was a terrible situation where they didn't even call him during the coaching search. You have 20 years of Ronnie Lester. Quote, they threw me out in the cold.
Right.
So the Lakers have had this track record of making these knee-jerk reactions and not really, backing it up with a phone call or an explanation.
And that's all I'm saying is that this situation is very similar to what we've seen in the past from the Lakers management, whether that's Jim Buss or Jerry or a combination of Jerry, Mitch, and Jim, and all 3 of them. But what we've seen from them is they, like you said, they're pulling the trigger really, really fast, and that's exactly what happened.
So if Phil Jackson said that I don't want to coach road games, I want my assistant to coach that, we both agree that's pretty ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
But Kurt Rambis came out and said that's absolutely ridiculous that anybody would even say that. That's terrible journalism because Phil Jackson knows in order to win, you can't do something like that, so he would never suggest that. So that's where there's 2 people on each side. If Phil Jackson actually said that, I get why the Lakers are like, no, we're good. But at the same time, people are on Phil's campus saying, I never said
the story is that the greatest coach in the history of organized sports is going to call you back on Monday and give you a decision on whether he wants to coach a team that is mostly comprised of guys that have won a championship under Phil Jackson. You don't wait for the phone call, and you hire Mike D'Antoni and say that his system might fit this roster better. That is beyond I don't even know what to say about that.
And Phil Jackson reportedly was stunned when they called him late Sunday night after the Sacramento game and said, we hired Mike D'Antoni. What? You hired who?
Unbelievable. And I'm not saying this to say Mike D'Antoni's a bad coach, because if we look at Mike D'Antoni, I said when Mike Brown got fired, I thought Mike D'Antoni would be the guy. It's not a bad decision to hire Mike D'Antoni.
I think he was number 2 on my list.
Exactly. Right. But when you have Phil Jackson calling you on Monday.
What's your car analogy?
My car analogy. So it's like I can buy a Toyota today. Toyota's a nice car. It's going to get the job done.
Great car.
Nobody's going to look at it and say that's a beater, that's a junker. Right. But I might be able to buy a Mercedes tomorrow.
For the same price.
For the same price. So do I buy a Toyota today, or do I at least wait and see if I can get the deal on the Mercedes? It is illogical and ridiculous that you don't at least wait.
It's not my organization. I remember when back in the day I said that they should have traded Bynum and Lamar Odom for Jermaine O'Neal. So if I was ahead of the Lakers, the Lakers would be right there with the Bobcats right now. So I'm not acting like I'm the be all guy.
Me neither.
But I will say, if Phil Jackson wanted $10 million a year, if he wanted a percentage of the organization, if he wanted to take a few shoot-arounds off, you give the dude that's won 11 rings all that.
And why wouldn't
not my
you
organization,
want
though.
Phil Jackson involved in your organization? He's won a championship as a player and been successful. He's obviously been successful as a coach. He has a great basketball mind.
He's
why wouldn't
dating
you want
Jeannie
him?
Buss.
Right.
That's kind of a
it
perfect.
just makes sense to have this guy as part of your organization.
Final thought. What do you think the main reason is?
Well, I think the main reason is that we know Jim Buss never liked Phil Jackson to begin with. After Phil left,
Right.
he rid the whole organization of everything that he was.
And how'd that work out for him?
Not so well. You got Mike Brown brought in. That didn't work out. Now you got D'Antoni. You got Laker Nation upset. I put this on Jim Buss not wanting Phil Jackson back in the organization.
Well, Lakers spokesman John Black came out and said that Dr. Jerry Buss, Jim Buss, and Mitch Kupchak all unanimously said Mike D'Antoni is the right fit for this job. That's BS.
Right. PR.
There's no way. If Phil Jackson is waiting there, say, I will call you tomorrow, and you say, let's not even call him. Let's hire this dude instead. No way. If you are saying that, I think that's just bad managing of a franchise. But that's what I think.
I agree.
We threw it to Laker Nation. Are you happy with the hire of Mike D'Antoni as the Lakers' new head coach? 68% said they are not happy. 28% said no. 2% are undecided. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, a lot of interesting things coming ahead for the Lakers.
So we will see. We always throw it to you guys. What do you think? Are you happy with the decision that the Lakers made to hire Mike D'Antoni? Make sure to comment below, like this video, and of course subscribe to our channel. For Jason Riley, my name is David Brickley, STNTV.